Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, November 10th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candle that you see right there will still be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, ticker symbol MARA. And nice start to the day. You can see opening 30 minutes after the gap up. Nice green candle, but after that, it's been a pretty big pullback. But within that pullback presents a very interesting situation here heading into Friday. And yeah, things are looking a bit ugly here, but there can be opportunity in the ugly. And what at least stands out to me, and of course, no, you don't have to agree with this at all, but you have this former area of resistance right down here that's also essentially a round number at the $9 mark. So let me change that to green to represent a support. But then what's also interesting is not only do you have that area from just a round number standpoint, form of resistance, but you also have the purple line right there, 50 period moving average. You have the pink line right there, 200 period moving average. So in other words, you have a pretty big congestion point of a whole bunch of areas of resistance right there. Now, there are no guarantees in the market, but is it plausible? Is it reasonable? Throw out the question. So maybe, just maybe, if the price can get down in that congestion area, there could be some sort of bounce back in the upwards direction. That's not guaranteed, but it's certainly a plausible thought to have. So if you like these sorts of scenarios where you're getting a chart that's looking kind of ugly, but there still can be some opportunity within the ugly, then I definitely keep an eye on MARA. Next one here, INBS, and overall a rough afternoon. I was going to say a rough day, but that's not true at all because it gapped up, made a huge move here, and is now pulling back. And that's what I want to focus on here because, yes, the price is indeed, you can't argue against it. It has been pulling back. Like I said, that's me just stating the obvious when I say that. But along with that, you have to keep in mind that, within the grand scheme of things, what was happening before this pullback? Well, you had a very big move in the upwards direction. And then when you combine in the fact that there's also an area of support that's down here at that area, which it's at 41 cents. So let me change that. So 41 cents. What do we now ultimately have? I'm going to go back and keep it same color. So we have our resistance. We have our support. We have that big move up. For you golfers out there, try to make it a little bit more visual. Put the golf hole down here. This would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So if you like penny stocks and you like bull pennant patterns, this is definitely a situation to keep an eye on. But yeah, I do fully realize that if you're some sort of day trader that you bought up there and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, and yeah, from that angle, the chart looks terrible. But assuming you care about more things from more so a bigger picture point of view, then as of right now, you have a bull pennant. Next one here, ticker symbol SOFI, absolutely beaten down today. And not only today, but really ever since its nice move up here, ever since there, it's been in a nasty, downwards trend. But today just expedited the downtrend that much more. But what does make this interesting is you got to give credit where credit's due. Late afternoon, the price had actually dropped all the way down to there. But now you can see the price is starting to battle its way back upwards, which brings about a valid question. Is this bounce the start of something even bigger? Now think about that question. It makes no sense to ask that question if nothing worthwhile is even happening. But in this situation, something worthwhile is happening. Now, that doesn't mean that anything is going to for sure continue to happen. Maybe this thing just rolls right back over. But that is a two-sided coin because, maybe this bounce is the start of something much bigger, and this thing continues to rip and roar, on Friday and into next week. So point here being is, and that's what a watch is all about, finding unique, finding interesting situations, and not rushing out and randomly buying stuff, but watching it. So if you find these sorts of scenarios unique, fantastic, keep an eye on it. If you don't really like playing these sorts of scenarios, then this one won't be on your personal watch list. But like I said, got beat down, is now starting to bounce back upwards. So is this bounce the start of something even bigger? We'll see what happens on Friday. Next one here, ticker symbol JAN, and overall, good chart. Now, yes, there is a bit of a pullback, so it goes back to that perspective. I mean, if you're a day trader and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, well, then yes, from that perspective, the chart looks really bad. But from the overarching standpoint, we have ourselves another nice little pattern here. So let's get this pattern drawn into play. So there's our resistance. There's our area of support. And then just to keep the same color because I can't help myself. So again, we have our resistance. We have our support. We have the nice upwards move here, golf hole down here. So we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennants, you like penny stocks, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, ticker symbol AMC, absolute beat down today. But to give credit's due, it did recover nicely from that, gap down here all the way up there. Did pull back, but the nice thing here is that at least it leveled out and is now starting to go sideways, as opposed to having gone up here and then just continue to crash downwards, which makes this interesting because, okay, maybe it's by doing so, it's now got, if you look at those as stair steps, those lows, you have a couple stair steps progressing the right direction. So assuming you're bullish, of course. So, is this, the start of something bigger? So that same question here. But again, it makes sense to ask that question, because had this thing just come down here and still dropping down, it doesn't make any sense to say, oh, wow, is this the start of something bigger from the bullish standpoint? Because there would be no bullishness. But because it was able to build that higher base, it's worth throwing that question out there. And it also makes this area very, very important from a support standpoint right there at 835. And the reason why that's important, and I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but if the price were to come down here and then break down below it, at that point, you'd be going right back to where it started. And that's not exactly a sign of genuine strength, where the price all of a sudden goes back to where it was. But as of now, it has held above 835. So you're going to want to continue to watch that. In terms of areas of resistance, the level here that I'd say to keep an eye on right there at that trend line. So keep an eye on that. And then if there's a bigger breakout, and that's where you can keep your eye up there on that 200 period moving average. But that's sort of irrelevant right now, given it's so far away. But it is AMC. It can make some bigger moves. So you never know. But as of now, showing some signs of strength by putting that higher base. We'll see if it can carry into Friday. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering here very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box to get signed up. Or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the very page that you can use to get signed up. Now, one special note, it is a live event. So a couple scenarios, maybe you already have something on your schedule this evening. That's fine. Maybe you're watching this Friday morning and you completely missed it. Send me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a replay link to the event. All I ask is, it's a live event, so it does first need to happen, but then I'd be happy to send you, a link to it after I get it uploaded and all of that. But if you can't make it live, then get signed up, and I'll see you here in just a few hours. Next one here, RIVN, absolutely destroyed today, and started yesterday with a nasty gap in trap. Try to show some strength, but that failed as it bounced right there, and then has really just kind of slowly gone downwards. But what I like about these sorts of, stocks is RIVN isn't like the most popular stock out there. I'm not going to say that, but it's a pretty popular stock. And when you have popular stocks like this getting absolutely destroyed, I mean, look at this trend line there. Look how, that trend line is almost straight down. That is just a crazy, crazy trend line, and it really just illustrates how bad this thing has gotten beat down. But my point here is that when you have stocks that are relatively popular getting absolutely beat down, it can produce some very nice upwards movements. Now, I'm not saying an upwards movement in the sense of it reverses and goes all the way back up here, but even if it goes, half that distance right there, from a trading standpoint, that could definitely be some worthwhile potential profit. So just to give more context here, and the bigger bit of context is it's now approaching this former area of support down here so it got very close today, $15, and we'll call it 30 cents. So the big question here is there going to be some sort of double bottom? So you have bottom one there, you have the second bottom right there. So is this double bottom going to produce a bounce back to the upside? If you like these sorts of scenarios, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, RIOT, same general idea that I just talked about. So relatively popular stock getting beat down. And yes, you have it right here at a potential double bottom. So same exact premise of what I just laid out. The difference here is that this one was at least in more of an uptrend, whereas RIVN was more so in a kind of a downtrending standpoint. But other than that, same general idea. If you like to play these sorts of scenarios where you can potentially get those double bottoms, you have bottom one there. Will this be bottom number two if it goes down there and test it? So again, if you like these scenarios, keep an eye on RIOT. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. And we have a rough day here, very rough day after what was looking like potentially a move up through that trend line right there, which is why I mapped that level out there in yesterday's video. But at least it was kind. At least it just flat out gapped down. In other words, at least it didn't, do something where the price came up here, broke through that level, so people were saying, oh, it's a breakout, and then did something like that. That would have been very, very cruel. This one was not cruel. It just gapped down and then essentially went straight down from that point. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these lines up here as they serve their purpose for now. Because first key update comes about based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So as of right now, final 30 minutes, give some credit's due. Nice green candle here. It's approaching that line. So that'll be battleground number one, to throw the question mark out there. Can the price break above 211? Because that'll be that first initial level. Now, even if it does, don't get too excited, because not that far away up above that $211 mark is the 200 period moving average, which could also potentially act as resistance. So in other words, there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done in the upwards direction. In terms of areas of support, next key level to watch headed into Friday, going to be this, I don't think it, very close to bouncing off that gap close location, but the gap close location down there at $206. So 206 will be important. And, if the price were to come down there and break through it, that starts to put the chart in kind of this no man's land, which doesn't necessarily mean it'll drop straight back down through 200, but I don't think that would shock anybody either. But as of now, nice little late day bounce. We'll see if that carries into Friday. Next one here, AMD. And overall, I'm feeling bearish on it in the near term, and I'll tell you exactly why. Yeah, there we go. Because what we have here is a rising wedge. No, that's the wrong line. We have a rising wedge pattern. And I know a rising wedge may sound, rising wedge, that sounds bullish. It's actually bearish. Just like a falling wedge pattern, while it sounds bearish, is actually bullish. So you can see here that we actually already have a violation to the downside of that pattern. So my question now at this point is, and the pattern is suggesting that this thing is going to need to pull back more. Now, big difference between pullback and reversal. I'm not calling for a reversal for this thing to go back down to $95. I'm just saying in the very near term, I'm bearish because it was already in a rising wedge pattern. It's broken to the downside of the falling wedge pattern. But to be fair, you can see that purple line right there, the good old famous 50-period moving average, as of right now, is doing a good job of supporting the price. But if that level fails, then you got to think that there's going to be even that much more of a pullback. So overall, like I said, if I were pushed into a corner, I'd be bearish on AMD in the near term because of this rising wedge pattern, because of the breakdown of that pattern. But still, I understand skepticism because the price is maintaining above that purple line, but we'll see if that can carry into Friday or not. Next one here, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ is going to go up, this one will also go up. Very popular ETF out there. And you can see right now, so far so good. And this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watch yesterday's video. But if you did, hopefully remember me talking about that level right there as support. And you can see that big pullback here. But the price is doing a good job of starting to go sideways right within this range. So that'll be the first question mark is, can the price continue to hold this area of support? And if so, if it continues to build up enough buyers in a bid, then it becomes very rational to think that you could get some sort of nice bounce back to the upside. And if it does go back to the upside, 39.40 remains that key level of resistance. Yes, earlier today, the price did break above it a couple of times, but the price was never able to maintain its momentum once it got above it. So therefore, this level still got to be considered an area of resistance on any sort of bounce. But the more pressing, or at least in my opinion, interesting question is what actually is going to happen with that area of support. Does it hold as support and provide a bounce? Or is this action right here just kind of a leading indicator of more downside to come? If there is more downside, then next level right there at 37.30. So I'll put that out there just in case. But 38.20-ish, right around that area. Grab your popcorn, grab your Sour Patch Kids. We'll see if the price can hold or not. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then definitely get signed up for that free class. It'll be this evening, Thursday, November 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But like I said, if you can't make it live for whatever reason, go ahead, send me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a replay link to it. As far as the top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do two things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment down below, give me your watch list for tomorrow, tell me what you traded today, or just say hi. But those couple things really help out the channel. They communicate to me that you enjoy these videos, and as long as you know you're enjoying, I will continue to do them. So go get signed up for that free class, and hopefully I'll see you here in just a few hours.